Well, hey, everyone. This is Michael, and welcome to the LoveWorks Dreamer and Doer podcast. We are bringing you today episode number 57. And we definitely know that there are plenty of great podcast options, opportunities out there. So we're just grateful that you are tuning into ours at LoveWorks. And this is the place where we believe that you are never too young to be a dreamer and you are never too old to get started working on that dream.
Yes, and our hope with Dreamers and Doers is that each week our special guest is going to connect with you wherever you find yourself today, and they're going to inspire you to become the best version of yourself for tomorrow.
And Carolyn, do you know one of the best ways that you could become the best version of yourself tomorrow?
I think it starts with a P.
Kind of. It's jamming out to our intro music for the podcast.
Oh, okay.
I was really getting into the groove today.
It's a bop. It really is. I think of it frequently. It's definitely that song in my head.
No question. It's something we hope that we get into your head is our fanaticism for personal growth and development. And I can definitely say, speaking for me, personal growth wasn't something that I got excited about in my early childhood, middle school, high school. Really wasn't into my early collegiate years. And so what we love to do is we like to take our passion for personal growth and curate different opportunities and things for you to think about. So we'll curate music, books, podcasts, people to follow. Today, we're going to talk about and highlight just a couple of organizations we think it's worth a click or a tap. And so, Carolyn, do you have one for us?
Yeah. So this one is a local one in Norman, but I know they exist in other cities as well. It's Norman's Women's Resource Center. And so one of the great things that I think about personal growth is that you can actually do personal growth, but also impact those around you. And so whether that could be, donating, or it could be volunteering, supporting an organization in some way that's helping impact the world, I think Women's Resource Center is definitely doing that. And so I know they need donations and things like that, whether they're monetary or also literal physical donations. These items go to help primarily women and children who are in crisis, but they actually just started a garden as well. And so they have a flower garden that was planted over this past weekend. And it's a place in a space that is safe, inviting, and a place for reflection and hopefully healing. And so I know that's another area that, hey, if it's not an item, if it's not monetary, you can even go help weed a garden. And that can totally be part of your personal growth.
There is no question about that. One that I would like to highlight is also an Oklahoma-based nonprofit organization called Project 31. And Project 31's founder, her name is Sarah McLean, a dear colleague and friend of ours. She is a two-time breast cancer survivor. And she has an incredible spouse and partner, Steve McLean, who has walked through both of those seasons, and as a family with two amazing, adorable kids. And it's their passion to be able to work with not just women that are walking through that season of their lives or surviving, but also to potential spouses. And so it's an incredible organization. It's called Project 31. And they really help to bring restoration to families. And there's different kinds of resources that they have available on their website that we'll make available in the show notes. And they have great events too throughout the year that you can go ahead and support Project 31. So lots of great organizations out there to follow. We think it's important to be paying attention to the great work that is taking place in your local community, and definitely to go out there and support it. Well, Dreamers and Doers, I know that you are excited for today's episode, and we're going to be bringing you a great conversation. And just to remind you about our format, the format at Dreamers and Doers looks like each week us sitting down with a different guest that takes the opportunity to be able to share at least one of their dream stories. And we don't just stop there, but we love to dig in and go back to even early childhood and hear about what were some of those early steps forward that our Dreamer and Doer guests took to reach their goal and to reach their big dream. And we hope that it's going to inspire you to get to the person that you are today, to the person that you desire to get to tomorrow. And so without further ado, today, we're excited to interview our Dreamer and Doer guest. His name is Tom Wright.
Tom Wright is the co-founder of Aromascapes, a scent marketing, scent branding, and odor neutralization company. Before Aromascapes, Tom held various sales positions with small local businesses to Fortune 500 companies before becoming self-employed independent sales representative. In 2012, he was named managing partner of Mid-America Sales and Distribution, which later gave birth to Aromascapes in 2014, and it remains the parent company to Aromascapes to this day. Tom is responsible for sales and operations as well as the day-to-day direction of the company. Now, him and his business partner, Randy Wright, have been lifelong friends, both growing up in the town of Watonga, Oklahoma, later forming a business relationship with like-minded aspirations. So today, Tom and Randy are continuing to scale Aromascapes to become a national brand in the aroma diffusion and scent branding industry, as well as diversifying their business portfolio into other industries. Hey, Tom.
Hello. Hi, Carolyn. Hi, Michael.
Hey, Tom. Great to see you. You are looking good, and I'm quite sure wherever you happen to be right now, which I believe is in Edmond, Oklahoma, you most likely are smelling good as well, too.
Yep.
We were joking just before going on the air that my wife mentioned this morning. She said, Michael, just even stepping foot in your campus, like I was blown away at how great it smelled. For the listener and viewer out there, the Loveworks campus is situated in Norman, Oklahoma, and we have a 12,000 square foot building that is completely aromatized by you, Tom. So I don't know if aromatize is a word that you use, but I made it up today.
It is now. It's a good one. I'm going to write that one down, okay?
Well, we appreciate your time today. We know you have a lot going on. Carolyn already mentioned in the intro that your company is expanding nationally, which we're going to get into in just a few minutes. But we do have a question that we love to ask each of our guests.
Yeah, so we always love to kick it off with asking, we're the Dreamers and Doers podcast. We know we're interviewing a dreamer and a doer, but for you personally, which one do you feel like comes more naturally to you?
Without a doubt, a dreamer. For as far back as I can think, I've always dreamt of different things. Like if I was thinking about being a firefighter, or later in life, it was getting into forensics when that started to come about. Not just being a firefighter or in forensics or something. I've always thought about how could I turn that into something that I could create to be my own. For instance, forensics, instead of just working with the government or law enforcement, I've always thought about, getting my own lab eventually and contracting with them. So definitely a dreamer.
Definitely a dreamer. I love that hearing, because I feel like I would put in the word like innovator. Like it's not just like doing the thing, but it's like, how can I make something even new out of that? That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, Tom, if you don't mind, could you take us back to the firefighting dreamer when you were dreaming about being a firefighter, and tell us just a little bit about where you grew up, a little bit about your family.
Well, as Carolyn read earlier, I grew up in the small town of Watonga, Oklahoma, and early years, there was a lot of animals, a lot of dogs, a lot of cats, and a lot of Star Wars action figures. Millennium Falcon, couple of TIE fighters, X-Wing, you name it, I had them all. So early years, I was able to use my imagination a lot. Later, I ended up, I was never really good at sports, but our electricity just went out. But that's where all my friends were. So naturally, I wanted to play football, play basketball, run track, or throw the discus. Little 5'6" guy throwing a discus. But that's where all my friends were. So that's where I wanted to be as well. Mm-hmm. So I think, being able to use my imagination early in years was very beneficial. And then being able to be around a lot of friends, had a lot of great friends, And as you read earlier as well, Carolyn, one of those friends ended up, I've known him most of my life, but Randy Wright and I actually became business partners together.
Maybe it involved Randy, but when you were younger, were there any times when you noticed an entrepreneurial spark? Like, were you always trying to start a business or anything along those lines?
Well, there was definitely times where, my imagination would spark something, but I was telling you, Michael, before, whenever I was younger, everybody had expected you to follow a certain pattern. You're going to get through school, and you needed to make sure that you had good grades so that you could get into a good college and find that career that you're going to stick with for 30 years or so. And so that was kind of the thought pattern at the time. And certainly wish there was something like Love Works Leadership back in the day for me, because that would have helped me get those ideas and those dreams that I was, that was boiling up inside, that I could maybe help direct that to go in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
I love hearing that of just, I think, and it's funny, I think the age definitely helps, a few years of realizing that's like, I wish I had something when I was younger.
Sure.
But eventually you did lead to, of course, a scent aroma business. So can you tell us, how did you decide to go all in with aroma? I know you were doing, other things beforehand.
Randy and I just woke up, we just met with each other one day and said, hey, let's make the world smell better. No, it didn't happen that way. Randy had started another company that you might have mentioned earlier. There was Mid-America Sales and Distribution. He started selling as an independent manufacturer's representative under that name. And I was doing some other things in sales positions, worked with him at different times when I could. And, it just evolved into a way where one of the clients being, we have a lot of gaming casinos here in Oklahoma. Randy was working with some of those doing in different capacities. And we just found a need to make them smell better. And we just did a little research and found a whole industry called scent marketing and odor neutralizing. So that's how that started. And eventually in 2014, it became everything that we do. 95% of what we do has to do with scenting. And we ended up rebranding that whole portion of the business as Aromascapes.
Wow.
Tom, I love what you said about, finding and seeing a need. It's one of my favorite quotes. Is the key to leadership, the key to business entrepreneurship is to find a need and to fill it. And you fill it up incredibly well with Aromascapes. I have lots of questions, and we're going to ask you about that. Of course, even just dreams that are, on your heart, things that you're thinking about in the future. But before we transition into the doing side, we have a question. And on our website, it's an opportunity for our students or anyone that listens to the Dreamers and Doers podcast to be able to ask our Dreamer and Doer guest a question. So, Tom, we're going to transition into Ricky's question about who inspired you to start Aromascapes.
Hi, my name is Ricky, and I'm 14 years old. And my question for Tommy is, who was an inspiration for you to start Aromascapes?
Was that who helped inspire? Like I said previously, it just kind of evolved into becoming Aromascapes. I would say having a business partner like Randy. We've been lifelong friends. It's one of those things where the left hand knows what the right hand's doing. I've known him for a very, very long time. So we both kind of know what each other are thinking at different times. And I would say together we were probably bouncing a lot of ideas off of each other and trying to figure out how to provide a solution to what we were up against. And I think that definitely he and I inspired each other. And, you know, we latched onto something that we saw that there was a very good possibility that it could turn into something really good.
Tom, we had first met you, well, not necessarily directly, but while we were at a local hotel in Oklahoma City, and I walked into the lobby and I didn't want to leave the lobby because of how it smelled. And we happened to be having just a team breakfast, and I shared with the team, I got to get a business card, find out what scent this is, and we need to get this into our campus. And so would you mind sharing with us, you're a creator, you talked about, you know, just how much you use and still use your imagination. So what are some of the scents, or maybe a few of the favorite scents that you and Randy have created over the years?
Well, that was probably the Colcord Hotel in Oklahoma City, which is amazing scent.
You're right. You know your places.
Yeah, the Skirvin also, and the Ambassador hotels, they both have different aromas. Mm-hmm. We have some amazing formulations. Probably, if you can think about it, we can probably obtain it. We work with a few different fragrance houses, and we have a certain number that we keep, like on our website, we keep on hand because they're the more popular type of aromas. You know, and instead of actually having like a lavender or orange smell or something like that, we really like formulations like a bergamot and vanilla together, or some. That's just to give you an example, and then we give it a name. You can just give it whatever name comes to mind that you might be able to associate with that smell. But yeah, we've got lots and lots of wonderful fragrances, and but yeah, Colcord's a good one, but we've got 1,999 others that are good too.
Yeah, I'm definitely sure that you do. So, Tom, as we mentioned in the intro of Dreamers and Doers, we love to hear a dream story, but we also want to hear about what were some of the early steps or maybe even challenges that you experienced. So would you mind sharing with us just a little bit, what were some of the maybe unexpected challenges that you experienced when you and Randy first began this particular business?
That's an easy one for us because here locally in Oklahoma, scent marketing was not really a thing, and it was unheard of to a lot of people that we would approach. Hotels have been doing it for a long time. That was pretty simple. The casino business, they understood it pretty much, but outside of that, it was virtually unknown. So I would say that challenge, bringing attention to what scent marketing is about and branding a property with an aroma, what that means, because a smell. Well, I'll put it this way: a smell is incredibly powerful. It's the one sense that we have that's directly connected to the limbic system, which is responsible for memory and emotion. So when you think, if you had a grandma that made some great pumpkin pies, or there might be some Christmas smells, probably 2 or 3 of those that pine or cinnamon or something like that it might spark a memory, and they're really, really powerful. So that's kind of the branding and the marketing piece of that. Mm-hmm. When what we had to do was provide a really good demonstration. What we do today is we offer a trial of the system and a product for $1 for 30 days, just so that they understand what it does, what it could mean to their property. And that's been working out really good for us, because once they put it in, they realize it's just not one of those metered timers on a wall that spits out, a fragrance, citrus or apple or something like that. It's a vapor that will carry wherever any of the airflow goes. And so that was the challenge, was nobody really knew about it. And that's kind of how we overcame that, is came up with some sort of trial process.
And then
I feel like
go.
I feel like you guys really have, I mean, there's a big difference between Aromascapes and the way that you guys do branding and scenting that is different than a person who may go to, say, any store and pick up like a little wall scent diffuser, right?
Right.
Like it really is different. I feel like we just need to say that. Like,
Yep.
is that it's so strong, it's so powerful, but it not in an overwhelming way. But we also get to see, I feel like when you came in and you showed love for it's like, these are the scents, like there was a brilliance about you, and there is just excitement and there is energy around it because you're super excited about getting to brand and scent a place. So Michael, I don't know if this is where you were going, but Tom, like, what is it that you love about what you get to do? Like, I'm sure there's probably more than one part.
Oh, certainly. Well, it's very, very fun. It really is. Because, once we have a client, they realize how important it is to their property. And if by chance it runs out or something happens to the equipment, where it was something that they didn't necessarily know about or didn't think that they really needed, when it's not there, we hear about it. That's pretty fun. I tell you, the biggest thing that I really enjoy doing what I do is, and I've applied this to other positions as well, but being able to meet new people all the time, and when they were complete strangers, being able to turn them into a client and develop a relationship, that is such a satisfying thing for me.
Well, Carolyn, you asked if I was going to go into that question. What I was going to ask is, I was thinking, just about the process of the install here. And Tom, you had not even mentioned about the Bluetooth. And so, not only do you have this incredible scent, but also at the same time, I can control it on my phone wherever I happen to have the diffusers.
Right. Yeah, there's a few systems that we have that operate by Bluetooth. Has an app that's downloadable to any smartphone or tablet, and super easy to use. I mean, you can make any schedule 24/7. You can have it come on at certain times and go off at certain times, and you can change the level of the intensity of that aroma as well.
Yeah. So it is really true that there is definitely an app for that. We appreciate that. Well, Tom, we'd love to hear. We mentioned earlier, we're even talking just about this week and the extensive travel that you have going on. And we always love to ask our Dreamer and Doer guest, is there a current dream right now that you are working on? It could be related to Aromascapes or something else. Yeah.
We've got a list of dreams. So, related to Aromascapes, we're hoping to have a subscription piece available probably in July, and that's going to be one or maybe two of our systems that are specific to residential homes. What we do commercially is we try to every time where we can is actually attached to the heating and air conditioning unit, because again, it's a vapor, it needs airflow, so it'll go wherever that airflow goes. Well, we want to be able to bring those fragrances that people enjoy in hotels and resorts and their favorite retail store. We want to be able to allow them to put that in their house and be able to pick and choose maybe each month if they wanted a different scent, that they could do that. That's one thing. Randy right now is, we are in the process of, we've obtained a franchise, a carpet cleaning franchise under our parent company, Mid-America. We created another LLC. It's Aromascapes, and that's what we're going to be doing with that portion. Is we have a couple of territories that we're going to start developing on the carpet cleaning side. We also see that as an avenue to bring Aromascapes to the residential market as well. And so we're going to be very, very busy with that as well. But also, we just opened up the Dallas office to be able to service the Dallas, Fort Worth, and all of North Texas out of that Dallas location. So we're busy trying to get that rolling as well.
That is just so cool. I'm like, I'm like thinking, I'm gonna finally have my house smell like the Colcord. I can't tell you, Tom, how many people, volunteers, people that have come through Loveworks who have asked, like, where do I get this scent? And so, like, truly, I can finally give them an answer. But that's going to be happening. Oh, for sure. So, Tom, this is one of my favorite questions that I love getting to ask. And this is where we see our students really start leaning in, because this is where they kind of get their advice. And so we know you're a big dreamer, you're a big doer, and maybe there's not anything you would necessarily change, maybe outside of having some opportunities outside of sports. But if you could talk to your middle school self or your high school self, is there a piece of advice that you would want to share with them?
Yeah, absolutely. What I would say is, if you've got a dream, if you've got an idea, I would say, act now. Take that first step and move. Dreaming is great. I'm a dreamer, but if you want it to be a reality, you need to start doing. So act now, take that first step, even if it's just writing a list down of different ideas that you have, or coming up with a business name, or drawing a logo, whatever that case may be. Start today and take that first step, and each day take another one. And before you know it, your dream has become a reality.
Well, thanks for passing that along, Tom. Great advice. I love the practicality of just creating the list and whatever it pertains to. Tom, you shared already a lot of just great thoughts. We've really enjoyed getting an opportunity to learn a little bit more about just your story, of course, and Aromascapes and your plans for the future. And our last question that we ask our dreamer and doer guest, we give you a minute. It might not be long, but it doesn't take a lot to impact just an individual's life. And we'd like to give you 60 seconds, Tom, just to be able to share whatever is on your heart that you think would encourage the dreamer or the doer that is listening to this podcast. So, Tom, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, set and go.
I would say I want to talk to the doer. Maybe it's somebody that's older. It's never too late to start. You can always do something. I know that when you're older, you get more obligations. There's there's mortgage, there's the marriage, there's car payments, and there's 2.5 kids, or whatever is going on. You could still start something, even if it's a side hustle, or again, start writing down the ideas that you have. Put those to paper, or put those in the computer, whatever. To start today, act now. For the younger generation, I would definitely say the same thing. What I would encourage you to do is definitely continue with that dream. Act today. Find somebody, a mentor or somebody that can help you, help you with the ideas, or help put you in a direction that would bring that dream to fruition.
Ooh, yay. Thank you, Tom, for sharing that, of just knowing that, to, of course, dream big, but start with the little steps, start moving forward. And I love the advice of finding a mentor. I think that can be huge, both in motivation, but also in guidance. And and just moving forward with our big dreams. So, and speaking to the younger generations to the older generations, it's funny because I feel like I'll meet teenagers nowadays who will say, it's too late. I should have started when I was 10. And I'm like, what? We've got plenty of time to act now.
Well, Randy and I didn't really see things picking up until we were both 42. So, yeah, it's never too late. I mean, you're going to look at, there's tons of stories. Colonel Sanders. I mean, there's a lot of people that have started very late. And so, yeah, it's never too late.
Agreed. Thank you, Tom.
Well, Tom, absolutely grateful for your time today. It was a serendipitous breakfast that we had, and the opportunity, of course, to be introduced to Aromascapes and you. For our listeners out there, our dreamers and doers, Tom, what is the best way that we can find you and learn more about your business?
Best way to find us is aromascapes.net. There you'll find it talks about our services. There's a link to go to the different fragrances and different systems that we have to deliver those fragrances. That would be the best way. And of course, you can call us at, let me get that number. You can certainly call us at 877-695-2484. That was a brand new toll-free number that we got. So.
and I'm sure without knowing you, Tom, that will be provided with some great customer service. Tom, we really appreciate you. Thank you for helping us smell better. We appreciate just your connection and your person. We just really appreciate you. So thanks for making us better today.
Honored to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, no joke though. I feel like so good to have an answer for all the people who ask when they come into Loveworks, where can I get this scent?
Please listen to episode number 57. You're going to hear the full story, and you're going to know where that you can get it. Well, we can't promise to deliver you scents, but Loveworks can promise to deliver you great leadership or resources and programming. And if you are interested in any of that, please feel free to check out our website at loveworksleadership.org, where you can find all things leadership for our podcast, our blog, upcoming local events here in Oklahoma. But then we also have a new experience called Business Boot Up, and it's a 5-week entrepreneurial pre-accelerator for kids literally between the ages of 8 and 15 around the world. And so registration is open right now for a limited time for cohort number 3. So for more information, please feel free to check out our website or contact us directly.
Yep, we have our personal contact information on there. We are available. So, and don't forget to check us out on our YouTube, our Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, and Spotify. And if you get a chance to, also leave us a little comment or a review. It means more than you know.
And Carolyn, it does not even have to be a 5-star, just any review, but our desire is to bring you the best content we possibly can, students. And so, please leave that for us. And remember, everybody, that real leaders, they don't blend in, they stand out.
Dream big.
And do your dreams.